Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, a new New York Times Sienna College poll was just released, and I'm going to tell you why part of it is brutal for Joe Biden, why we should maybe be a little skeptical in some areas. They surveyed 3,662 registered voters. This was done by phone. If you guys have been following the show for a while, you know how I feel about phone polls. They are very skewed, but these were conducted in critical battleground states. So Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. 57% of the respondents were 45 years or older. 23 of the respondents were between the ages of 30 and 44, and only 17% were 18 to 29. 30% identified as Democrat, 32% as Republican, and then 30% said they identify as independent. 38% of these respondents said that they lean more Democratic, and then 44% said they lean more Republican. So keep that in mind as I go through all of this. 18% said they either don't know or they just refuse to say. Also, a whopping 59% identify as Catholic, Christian, or Protestant. So keep that in mind as well. The vast majority, 73%, were white. It's another thing to keep in mind as I go through these stats. They also had no college education, a large majority of them, and 75% said that they considered themselves to be moderate, somewhat conservative, or very conservative. So that's a huge red flag right there. 75% of all of these people in this poll said, yeah, I'm either moderate, somewhat conservative, or very conservative. Well, here's the shocking part, though. 41% said they voted for Biden in 2020. Only 38% said that they voted for Trump, and then 18% said they either didn't vote or they voted for someone else. So here's what they found. They asked whether or not the country's on the right track or wrong track. Unsurprisingly, the majority in every state said wrong track. It ranged from 63% up to 68%. As I mentioned before, though, I hate this question because they don't do any follow-up. And even people who plan to vote for Biden say we're on the wrong track. And it could be because of people like me, right? Due to government corruption, the elimination of rights for certain people, women, LGBTQ people, the amount of bigotry that's been unleashed by Donald Trump and his party of domestic terrorism. I mean, you name it, right? There are so many reasons, the banning of books, so much chaos created by the Republicans. So this is a useless question to ask in a poll unless you're going to dig deeper. So here's where things go sideways, though, for Biden. When asked how likely they were to vote, very few said somewhat, not very likely, or not at all likely. The vast majority in all 6 states answered that either almost certain or very likely they will vote. So most people in this poll are motivated to vote. The problem is they are more energized, more motivated to vote for Trump. Respondents were asked if the election was held today, would you vote for Biden, Trump, or another candidate? Or would you not vote, or do you not know? In all of the battleground states, with the exception of one, Trump beat Biden. Arizona, it was 49 to 44%. Georgia was 49 to 43%. Michigan voters chose Trump 48% over Biden at 43%. Nevada was by far the worst. Trump got 52% of the vote compared to only 41% for Biden. Pennsylvania was 48 to 44%. And then Wisconsin was the only state in which Biden beat Trump by only 2%. So that's within the margin of error. It was 47% for Biden, 45% for Trump. What's telling and concerning about this poll is that 48% of these respondents said they would probably or definitely vote for a Democrat if it was not Joe Biden. I mean, I don't know how much more clear people can make it. Nearly 50% of the people polled said if they had a different Democratic candidate, I would vote for the Democrats. Now, when asked about a head-to-head matchup between Trump and Kamala Harris, because you think, okay, well, who would the next likely person be, right? The Democratic Party is not going to turn their back on Kamala Harris because that would piss off a lot of people. Well, they did a head-to-head against Trump and Kamala Harris, and the results are not much better. In fact, Trump beats Harris in all 6 states, including Wisconsin. And then here's the really brutal part. A majority of voters in all 6 states say they somewhat or strongly disapprove of how Biden's doing his job, an average of 59%. But it's not as though the majority of these people like Trump any better than Biden. They just think that he would do a better job. They said in regard to immigration, national security, and the Israel-Palestine conflict, the majority said they trust Trump more. Biden only beat Trump on abortion and democracy. And even in regard to democracy, it was pathetically close. 48% said Biden would do better. 45% said Trump. 45% said a guy who literally attempted a coup, a guy who tried to overturn a legitimate election, who incited a violent insurrection at our nation's capital to try to remain in power. And 45% said, yeah, that's the guy that does better on democracy. Unbelievable. And respondents were asked to rate their favorable and unfavorable of both Biden and Trump, and they were neck and neck on this question as well. So an average of 56% have a somewhat or very unfavorable view of Trump. 57% view Biden somewhat or very unfavorably. And here's the kiss of death, in my opinion, for Democrats. If they don't start making moves to try to help average Americans and to rein in the corporate greedflation, they're in trouble. The respondents were asked which issues are of more importance to you and would impact your vote, influence your vote in 2024. The first option was societal issues like abortion, guns, and democracy. The second option was economic issues, including jobs, taxes, and or the cost of living. They were also given the options to choose both equally, neither, or I don't know. Only 12% said both. 29% chose societal issues. A whopping majority of 57% said economic issues. And that's even though an average 62% said abortion should be mostly or always legal. So it's not like they don't care about that issue. It's just not their number one issue. It's not what's going to drive their votes. The next question was, how do you rate the economy? An average of 52% across the 6 states said poor. 29% said fair, and only 18% said good or excellent. And when they were asked if Biden or Trump's policies personally helped or hurt them, 53% said Biden's policies have hurt them. Only 34% said the same about Trump. I get it that these people are or misinformed, because that is just not possible, considering the fact that Trump literally the first thing he did was to give a tax cut to the wealthiest people in this country, 84% of which went to the wealthiest people. So I get it. They just don't know what they don't know, apparently. But it doesn't help, right? It's not going to change anything. So this whole Bidenomics thing, his whole spiel that he's trying to push is not working. It seems like gaslighting to people. If Biden has anyone working in his White House with half a brain, they would advise him to get rid of Jerome Powell and hire someone who will reduce the interest rates immediately, because that is a huge pain point for people right now. As I've said, Jerome Powell is using the wrong tool for the job. I get it. He has one tool, right? He opens his toolkit, he has one tool. But it's like he's trying to drill a hole with a trumpet or something. I mean, it's just the wrong tool. You can't get it done. Gas prices are not going down. Groceries are not going down. The cost of prescription drugs for the majority of Americans are not going down. Meanwhile, Jerome Powell is destroying every business that is directly or tangentially related to the housing market. It's hurting too many people. Anyway, but what do I know? I just talk to people all the time who voted for Biden in 2020 and who are now regretting that vote. So anyway, back to the poll. Here's what the Republicans are getting wrong. Here's what could trip them up a little bit. I don't think it's going to be fatal, though. When these people were asked whether or not they support or oppose additional economic and military support for Ukraine, an average of 58% across all 6 of these states said that they either strongly or somewhat support it. More aid. Only 38% said that they strongly or somewhat oppose more aid. So Republicans are definitely on the wrong side of that issue. But like I said, when it comes down to a voter's personal finances, I don't think Ukraine aid is going to factor into their voting decision. It's just not going to be top of mind. So that's where it stands, guys. And, there was recent polling, too, that Biden is just tanking with Muslim Americans right now because of what's going on with Israel and the Palestinians and Gaza. They just don't see Biden as making prudent decisions. And the White House is kind of throwing up their hands. I see pundits on other shows saying, oh, well, what can they really do? I mean, he told them that they need to take a pause for humanitarian aid. No, we give so much money to Israel every year, year after year. You need to make that conditional, right? I'm not saying that they don't have a right to go after Hamas. They 100% do. I am an eye for eye, an eye kind of person. I say find them, torture them, destroy them, do whatever the hell you want to them. But when people are seeing little children, thousands of little children being killed by bombs and by the Israeli government, by their forces, completely innocent people in this being killed every day, Biden is not doing himself any favors by standing by this 100% and saying, yes, we will continue to give you millions and millions of dollars, and we are not going to condition this aid in any way. It's just not good. Politically, it's not good for him. So, beyond the moral, reprehensible consequences of this, of us literally funding the murder of innocent people, of innocent civilians, women and children, especially. Not that I don't care about men, I do, but you know what I mean. Thousands of children dying. A large percentage of the population in Gaza is children. They are completely innocent. So anyway, not looking good, but again, this poll has some issues to it that I think skewed the results a little bit. So I think that people are making a little bit more of it than they need to. But then again, we are seeing the same kind of results in every single poll and in a lot of focus groups. So this is concerning. We do need to be concerned. If the Democrats had any common sense, they would find a different candidate. I'm just being honest. I will vote for Biden. I will crawl over broken glass, as I've said before. I will swim shark-infested waters, but this is not good. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate if you possibly can. Really helps to keep the show going. I so appreciate it. Love you all. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.